Hi, I am Emiliano Galindo Mercado, and this is my final individual assignment. First, I would like to present the human rights and social transformation. Human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belong to all humans, and they come from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And their key principles are equity, freedom, dignity, and non discrimination. However, there are some controversies among these human rights, um, like they are dependent on your cultural context. So the question here is: can all societies follow the same rules? Um, for this, we have to dismantle and restructure. This would be the process of breaking down unfair systems and rebuilding them so that they can be better and transformed. Some examples are gender inequality, patriarchy, and discriminatory laws. The goal would be to create fair and inclusive systems. Uh, we have an actual need for dismantling. Dismantling systems that are unfair is needed to fully achieve human rights, as some systems violate human rights and many laws need deep change. However, there are some challenges that, in order to restructure these human rights, like social backlash, cultural norms, power structures, and the fear of change of the population. Now, I would like to also present the new politics, culture, and diversity in order to build inclusive societies. New politics focus on social issues like equality, environment, and human rights. Um, they use public policy to solve problems like laws, regulations, and programs. Now, about culture and diversity, we have that culture is all those beliefs, values, and traditions that belong to a community, and diversity is the difference we see among them, like race, gender, language, and religion. Now, in order to build inclusive societies should be equal in opportunities for everyone, and differences among people should be respected, as well as everyone should have an active participation in society, regardless of their differences. In order to achieve this, we can implement better education, equal access to opportunities, and anti discrimination laws. New politics that we see nowadays promote inclusion and diversity, and culture influences the decision on new policies and decisions, for example, in laws protecting minorities, multicultural education, and gender equality policies. Understanding diversity leads to better politics, and inclusive societies create a better future for everyone. And I have a quote here, which is: diversity improves problem solving and innovation. The next topic we come along is fair trade economy and religion, uh, gender inequality, and social justice. Uh, Here we can say that economic systems and religious structure shape equality opportunities and quality of life around the globe. Now we have economy and fair trade. This promotes fair wages and ethical production, as well as supporting producers in developing countries and encourage sustainability. This all reduces economic inequality. And religion and gender issues. This influences the role of gender and social norms. It can limit or empower women's participation depending on the situation. Inequality comes from cultural interpretations. The way in which they connect, we have that they both have an impact on human rights and fairness. Also, they shape power and access of opportunities, and they reinforce or reduce inequality depending on each context. They require ethical change and awareness. A more fair world depends on fair economic and inclusive social systems. And finally, we have the future of inclusion and diversity, which is based on the tree. We have first, to get into some context, our current reality. We live in a world that has progressed among the years, but still has inequality, exclusion, limited opportunities, and structural discrimination. In order to improve this, we need a process of change. Change can only occur once we start dismantling and restructuring the system we have in this day and age. We should rebuild based on equity and inclusion. Real change requires transforming the foundation of society. Some of the drivers of change of nowadays are feminism and new masculinities. The main idea is to build a world where all people are respected, valued, treated fairly, and have equal access to opportunities regardless of their identity. And well, and we can say that feminism and the new masculinities, they are redefining fairness, gender equality, and gender roles. uh, some systems that have to be changed based on the image of the tree we saw are culture and society, because they shape beliefs, norms, and behavior; economy, that determines access to opportunities; politics, that define laws; and religion, which influences values. If we get to improve these aspects, the future we can imagine is a world where diversity is celebrated, where there are fair systems, equal opportunities, and respect for all identities, achieving SDGs like 3, 4, 5, 10, and 16, which stand for global development. Inclusion creates equal access to education and health care, protection of human rights, and peaceful society. So I would like to add my opinion. My opinion is that in order to have a fair world for everyone, we need to have inclusive societies, and inclusive cities and inclusive spaces. We also saw that in the coil, that in order to for people to feel safe and comfortable in their own space, we need to start creating spaces where everyone can be accepted regardless of their identity or their gender or many other aspects of them. I think I learned a lot about uh, this topic of inclusive societies within this problem situation.